Welcome, deep divers. Have you ever had one of those weeks? You know, the kind where your brain feels like a browser with maybe 200 tabs open, each one screaming for
Oh,
attention.
absolutely. We've all been there.
You've got that critical client presentation, your kid's school fundraiser, a mountain of emails, and maybe that lingering thought about fixing the leaky faucet all just swirling around,
hmm
creating this sort of low hum of anxiety. Well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're taking a really deep dive into David Allen's foundational work, Getting Things Done.
A classic for a reason.
Exactly. Our mission here is to pull out the core, the really transformative insights from this book. Think of it like a fast track, maybe, to understanding how you can feel genuinely more in control, less overwhelmed, and, truly effective in this constantly changing world.
And Alan makes this big promise, doesn't he, about achieving a state he calls mind like water.
Yes. Relaxed, yet totally ready for anything. And honestly, who couldn't use a bit more of that?
It's such an appealing promise, and it really speaks directly to the challenges I think we face every single day. The fundamental shift Alan points to is, well, it's in the very nature of our work itself.
That seems like the right place to start.
The old ways of managing tasks, they just don't really apply anymore. We've moved way beyond those, clear-cut assembly line tasks of the past.
That's such a key point. Like, my grandfather knew exactly what done looked like at the end of his day. It was physical, tangible.
Right, fields plowed, boxes packed.
Exactly. The output was visible. But for us, it's a completely different landscape. I mean, what does done even mean when your work is mostly thinking?
Precisely. And Peter Drucker talked about this years ago, this shift to knowledge work. Today, projects often lack clear edges. They're not neat and linear.
No.
They demand constant communication, collaboration across teams, critical thinking. And the irony is, the very tools meant to help us, like instant messaging or all the information online.
Right, the internet.
Yeah, they often end up creating more work and more complexity. We're always tweaking things, always asking, could this be better? And with endless information.
The answer is always yes.
The answer is almost always yes. It just keeps going.
It's this relentless loop. I mean, the source material highlights that lots of professionals now face dozens, maybe even hundreds of emails every single day.
It's staggering.
And there's almost zero tolerance for ignoring even one of them. That's not just data, that's a real mental weight.
hmm
And it makes you see immediately why those traditional methods like simple ABC prioritizing or just writing a daily list in your planner, they just can't keep up.
It's like bringing a bicycle to a Formula One race, like you said. They're just not built for the speed and complexity.
So if the sheer volume and the fuzziness of it all is the problem, where do we even start to get a handle on it?
That's the million-dollar question.
Mm-hmm.
And what's often missed, I think, is that even those high-level approaches, focusing only on the big goals and values, they can actually backfire. Well, if the day-to-day operational stuff isn't managed properly, it's like trying to build a skyscraper without a solid foundation.
Yeah.
You still feel completely overwhelmed, right? Distracted by the constant stream of urgent little things.
The small stuff pulls you down.
Exactly. It makes it incredibly hard to focus on those bigger perspectives. Your strategic thinking gets totally clouded by the immediate demands.
Okay, so if managing time isn't the answer, and managing information isn't quite it, and even just focusing on big priorities isn't the silver bullet, what is the real leverage point, according to Allen? What's the big shift he wants us to make?
Allen's core insight, and it really is transformative when you grasp it, is that the real problem isn't managing any of those things directly. It's about managing actions.
Actions, okay.
When you break down everything that has your attention, everything pulling at you, into its most fundamental physical next step, that's when you gain immediate clarity and control.
And that's how we get to this GTD promise, achieving that mind like water. It sounds a bit mystical, maybe, but it's actually very practical.
Oh, absolutely. Mind like water isn't some, unattainable Zen state. It's a very pragmatic feeling. It's about feeling in control, lacking that constant background stress, being able to really focus deeply.
And feeling like you're actually moving forward.
Yes, making meaningful progress. Think of it less like finding a magic wand and more like training an athlete. It's a learnable skill set.
Right.
It makes you more responsive, more action-oriented, and ultimately, higher performing. Your mind is calm, but it's ready to react appropriately to whatever life throws at it.
Okay, so to give everyone listening a direct feel for this, let's try that quick exercise from the book. Think about a project or maybe just an issue that's currently taking up space in your head. That client thing, maybe fixing the faucet, just something buzzing around. Got one.
Okay. Now, in just one simple sentence, describe the desired outcome. What would done look like for that thing? Like client presentation delivered successfully or leaky faucet fixed? Just be clear on the endpoint.
All right, now this is the really crucial part. Identify the very next physical action you need to take. If you had nothing else on your plate, what single physical thing would you do right now to move it forward?
And be super specific. Is it call the client, draft presentation outline, email the plumber for a quote, go online and buy a new washer? What's the actual physical next step?
Take a second.
If you actually did that, if you're like most people, you probably just felt a little shift, right?
Yeah, I did. A bit lighter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You likely feel a noticeable increase in control, maybe a bit more relaxed, more focused, maybe even a little jolt of motivation. The situation itself hasn't changed, but your thinking about it has been clarified. It goes back to what Drucker said about knowledge work. You have to clearly specify the expected results of actions.
It's amazing how just defining the next step can cut through that feeling of overwhelm.
It really demonstrates the power of focused thinking.
Okay, so that experience leads us right into the core engine of GTD, the 5-stage workflow. This isn't just a list of steps, is it? It's more like a fundamental process.
It's the fundamental process for handling everything that comes into your world.
Yeah.
It's how you turn all that mental clutter into organized, actionable clarity.
Stage 1.
Stage 1 is collect. And the truly radical idea here, the one people often underestimate, is that you have to capture everything. 100%.
Not just the big stuff.
No. Alan argues that anything less than 100% is effectively 0% in terms of mental relief. The real power comes when your brain finally trusts that every single commitment, every open loop, every thing I need to do someday is safely captured somewhere outside your head.
It frees up brain space.
Exactly. It frees up that valuable mental RAM, as he calls it.
And interestingly, it doesn't require fancy tools. The book mentions everything from physical trays.
Your classic in tray.
Yeah. And paper notebooks to digital notes, voice recorders, basically whatever lets you quickly get a thought down.
Precisely. The key to making collection work isn't the tool, it's the habit. And there are two critical factors. First, limit the number of collection buckets you have. Too many inboxes just fragments things.
Right, you lose track.
And second, equally vital, is the discipline of regularly emptying them. And emptying means processing each item, deciding what it is and where it goes. It doesn't necessarily mean doing the task right then.
Important distinction.
And a core rule. Once an item is processed out of the inbox, it never goes back in. It's a one-way street towards clarity.
Okay, so once we've collected everything, stage 2 is process or clarify. This is where we look at each item and ask what.
Two fundamental questions. First, what is this thing, really? And second, crucially, is it actionable? Does anything actually need to be done about it?
Makes sense. What if the answer is no?
If there's no action needed, you still have choices that bring clarity. You can simply trash it. Alan actually suggests getting a big trash can ready. It's surprisingly liberating. Or you can incubate it. This means it's something you might want to do later, but not now. It goes on to a someday maybe list. This gives your brain permission to let it go for the moment.
Like learning Spanish or that trip idea.
Exactly. Or it might be reference material, useful info you might need later, like contact details or project notes. That needs to get filed somewhere you can easily find it, not cluttering your active system.
Okay, but what if it is actionable? Something needs to happen.
Then you hit the famous 2-minute rule. Alan's insight here is brilliant. If the very next action takes less than 2 minutes to complete, just do it right then and there.
Even if it's not a top priority.
Even then, because the mental effort of tracking it, deferring it, putting it in the system and coming back to it later often outweighs the 2 minutes it takes to just get it done now.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic way to bust through small tasks and procrastination.
That's a powerful little rule.
It really is. And if the action takes more than 2 minutes, you have a clear fork in the road. Either you delegate it, if you're not the right person to do it.
Making sure you track that you've handed it off.
Yes, crucial. Track it so you know it's being handled. Or, if it's yours to do, you defer it. That means adding it to your trusted system to be done later. This simple decision tree, trash, incubate, reference, bow, if 2 mins, delegate, or defer, brings instant clarity to every single item you process.
No more wondering, what do I do with this?
Okay,
so we've collected and processed. Stage 3 is organize. This is where we build that trusted system.
Exactly. Organizing is about setting up the actual lists and folders that will hold the reminders of your commitments and actions. The key insight here is that these categories need to be clearly separated visually, physically, psychologically, so your brain learns exactly where to look for different types of
And
information.
it needs to trust the categories, makes sense.
Precisely. That trust is everything. Some key organizational categories Alan outlines are: first, the projects list. This is simply a list of all your desired outcomes that require more than one action step to complete.
So not the individual tasks.
No, just the overall goals. Think of it as a table of contents for your commitments, a reminder of the finish lines you're aiming for. A big mistake people make is trying to work directly from this list. It's really just an inventory to trigger thinking about the next actions.
Got it. Then there's the calendar. You mentioned Alan calls this sacred territory.
He does. The critical insight is that the calendar is only for things that have to happen at a specific time, appointments,
Hmm.
or on a specific day, day-specific work. That's it.
No daily to-do lists cluttering it up.
Absolutely not. Those generic daily lists often just get rewritten day after day, which is demoralizing. The calendar is for the hard landscape of your time commitments.
Okay, so where do all the other tasks go? The ones that aren't time sensitive?
They go onto your next actions lists. And the genius here is organizing them by context,
Context, meaning?
meaning where you are or what tools you need to do them. So you might have lists like at phone calls, a computer, at errands for when you're out and about, at office, at home, maybe at read review.
Ah, so you can see what's possible right now.
Exactly. If you find yourself with 10 minutes waiting for someone, you can just pull out your chat phone calls list and knock one out. It allows you to leverage small pockets of time and match tasks to your current energy level and location rather than just staring at one huge, overwhelming list.
That makes so much sense. What else gets organized?
There's the incredibly valuable someday maybe list. This is where all those ideas for later go: hobbies to start, trips to take, skills to learn, things to buy.
The incubator items.
Right. But the profound insight here is that it acts as a crucial mental pressure relief valve. Just capturing an idea here, even if you never act on it, tells your brain, okay, I've got this noted, you don't have to keep reminding me. It frees up so much cognitive energy for the present.
It gives permission not to think about it right now.
Exactly. Trusting the system holds it safely. And finally, you need a system for reference materials, that useful, non-actionable info. Alan recommends a simple, single A to Z filing system, easily accessible. For email, he suggests specific folders too, like maybe an @action folder for emails needing tasks over 2 minutes and an @waiting for folder, all aimed at that beautiful state of an empty inbox.
An empty inbox. The dream. Okay, that brings us to stage 4, review. You said earlier this is where the magic happens. Why is review so critical?
That's what keeps the whole system alive and functional. It's like the circulatory system for GTD. Without regular review, even the best organized system just becomes a static, untrusted archive of old stuff.
It loses its integrity.
Completely. And the most crucial review rhythm is the weekly review. This is non-negotiable, really. It's dedicated time, maybe an hour or two each week, to systematically go through all your projects, your waiting for items, your someday maybe lists, your completed actions, and your upcoming calendar.
What does that achieve?
It ensures everything is current. You capture any new open loops, you decide on next actions for all active projects, you clear out clutter, and you basically reset your system so you have total confidence in it for the week ahead. It gives you that vital 3,000-meter view of all your commitments.
It keeps the trust alive.
It's the glue that holds it all together.
Yeah.
And the book also briefly mentions the horizons of focus model, thinking about your work and life at different altitudes, from the runway level of current actions
Right up to life purpose.
up to the 50,000-foot view of life purpose and values. The key insight is that getting clarity at the bottom, managing your daily actions effectively, actually frees up mental energy and enhances your ability to think clearly and strategically at all those higher levels. You can't effectively plan your life purpose if your email inbox is exploding.
Bottom-up clarity enables top-down thinking.
Perfectly put. Then finally we get to the 5th stage, do, execution, making choices about what to work on right now.
This is the ultimate question, isn't it? With potentially hundreds of next actions organized, how on earth do you choose what to do in this moment? The book says, trust your intuition.
Well, yes, but it's an informed intuition. It's not just guessing. Alan provides a very practical framework, the 4 criteria model for choosing actions.
Okay, what are the 4 criteria?
First, context.
Sure.
What can you actually do right now, given where you are and the tools available? If you're on a plane without Wi-Fi, you can't do your online tasks.
Makes sense. Filter by possibility.
Second, time available. How much time do you realistically have before your next hard commitment, like a meeting? If you only have 10 minutes, you probably won't start a 2-hour report.
Right. Match task length to time block.
Third, energy available. What's your current mental and physical energy level? Are you sharp and focused or kind of drained? You match the task's demands to your capacity. High energy for complex thinking, low energy for simple admin.
Be realistic about your state.
And only after you've filtered through those first 3 practical constraints do you consider the 4th criterion: priorities. Given what you can do with the time you have and the energy you possess, what is the most important thing to do now? This is where your goals and project importance come in, but always grounded in the reality of the moment.
So priority isn't the first thing you look at, it's the last filter.
Exactly. It makes your choices much more realistic and less prone to overwhelm or procrastination. This whole system helps you dynamically balance 3 kinds of work throughout the day: doing your predefined work from your lists, handling unexpected things that pop up, and defining your work by processing new inputs. It's a fluid model, not a rigid plan.
That fluid approach seems much more suited to knowledge work.
Absolutely. And that idea of fluid, effective progress extends into how we tackle bigger projects, which brings us to the natural planning model.
Ah, yes, this sounds interesting. It's about how our brains naturally plan things anyway.
Exactly. Alan points out that we instinctively use this process for simple things, like planning dinner out or a weekend trip. The power comes from consciously applying this same natural model to our more complex work projects. When you understand it and use it deliberately, it unlocks huge amounts of creative energy and clarity.
Okay, so what are the stages of this natural planning?
There are 5. First is defining purpose and principles. Why are we doing this project in the first place?
Yeah.
What are the guiding values or boundaries? What does success really mean here? Getting clear on the why is fundamental.
Sets the direction.
Second is vision of outcome. What does success actually look, sound, and feel like if this project were completed perfectly? Really paint a vivid mental picture. This engages your brain's reticular activating system, making you notice relevant information and helping generate solutions. You have to create it in your mind before you can create it in reality, as the book says.
Visualize the win.
Third is brainstorming. Just get all the related ideas out. No judgment, no organizing yet, just a brain dump. Use mind maps, bullet points, whatever works. The key is getting the ideas out of your head and into an external form. Psychologically, it's hard to juggle more than a few abstract thoughts internally for long.
Externalize the thinking.
Fourth is organizing. Now you take that brainstormed mess and start structuring it. Identify the key components, sequences, dependencies, and priorities. This is where you start seeing the shape of a real plan, figuring out what needs to happen and roughly in what order.
Building the structure.
And the crucial 5th and final stage is identifying next actions. For every active, moving part of the project plan, you must define the very next physical action required to move it forward. If a project feels stuck or is still just buzzing around in your head causing stress,
It means you haven't defined the next action.
exactly. It's a clear signal that more planning is needed, probably going back to one of the earlier stages like brainstorming or organizing. Formalizing this natural process prevents projects from stalling and turns vague anxieties into concrete steps.
It connects the big picture to the immediate do.
Precisely. And when you tie all these pieces together, the workflow, the organizing principles, the natural planning, the overall impact is pretty profound. Alan talks about the effect of the next action standard.
What does that mean? What's the effect?
It means that when defining the very next action becomes the standard way of dealing with everything that comes your way, it leads directly to several huge benefits. First, clarity. You always know exactly what needs to be done next.
No more fuzziness.
Second, accountability. It's crystal clear who owns the next step. Third, efficiency. You start acting on things earlier, proactively, rather than waiting until the last minute, that 5 minutes to midnight panic mode.
Less firefighting.
Much less. The book explicitly says organizations become naturally more efficient if they make deciding the next action standard practice the moment issues appear. And finally, empowerment. You feel a genuine sense of control and agency over your work and life.
And you mentioned this isn't just for individuals. It can shift a whole organizational culture.
Oh, definitely. The source material highlights how it can move a culture away from complaining, blaming, and constant crisis management towards being truly results-oriented. It fosters trust because commitments are tracked, and communication becomes clearer because people are focused on actionable steps. Imagine a team meeting where every agenda item ends with a clearly defined next action and owner.
That would be revolutionary for many places.
It really would. And ultimately, while GTD provides the practical how-to for managing the day-to-day, the clarity you gain does something even more profound. It frees up that precious mental bandwidth.
To think about the bigger picture.
Exactly. To genuinely engage with your purpose, your values, your long-term vision, those higher horizons. It allows you to connect that high-level strategic thinking with the, let's face it, often mundane daily actions required to get there. That ability to bridge the gap between vision and execution is, I think, a truly critical skill for navigating the complexities of our time.
So when we wrap this all up, what does this really mean for you listening right now? David Allen's Getting Things Done is clearly more than just another productivity hack list.
Oh, much more.
It feels like a fundamental way to reclaim your mental space, doesn't it? To move from that feeling of constant overwhelm, those 200 browser tabs open in your brain, towards that calmer, clearer state of mind like water.
It's about building an external brain you can implicitly trust.
Right. So your actual brain can stop trying to be this overloaded, stressed out filing cabinet and finally get back to doing what it does best. Being creative, solving problems, thinking strategically, just being present.
And maybe here's a final thought to chew on, building directly on Allen's insights. He says something like, if you are not sure where you are going, you will never know when enough is really enough.
That hits home.
The profound challenge here isn't just learning the techniques, implementing the lists and reviews. It's about cultivating enough trust in your system, whatever system you build, based on these principles, to truly let your mind be free. Free from the constant low-level anxiety of trying to remember everything.
Free to actually think.
Free to think, free to create, free to strategize, free to simply be fully present in whatever you're doing, rather than having your attention constantly pulled away by that feeling of, am I forgetting something? So the question becomes, what could you truly focus on? What amazing things could you create or experience if your mind was consistently clear, calm, and ready, like water?